On a frozen world where humans and aliens live in constant fear of each other, a lonely human named Soren stumbles upon a dying alien mother and her newborn child during the coldest night of his life. With her final breath, she begs him to protect the baby, though the reason for that desperate plea remains shrouded in chilling mystery. Now Soren must safeguard a defenseless infant that both armies want destroyed, with dangers closing in from every side and a secret power growing inside the child. As he struggles to keep them alive, Soren discovers a bond that could reshape the fate of two species. But the deeper he goes, the more he realizes. This isn't just a rescue. This is the beginning of a choice that could decide the future of the entire galaxy. The cold had teeth that night. Nathan Cole could feel it biting through every layer of his clothing as he trudged across the abandoned outpost, trying to keep his steps light on the cracked metal floor panels. His helmet visor displayed the temperature reading, -82 degrees Celsius. Any exposed skin would freeze in seconds. Perfect night for regret, he thought bitterly. He was the last human on Frostreach Station Alpha. Everyone else had evacuated after the mining corporation pulled out. But Nathan stayed. Someone had to finish the shutdown sequence, secure the site, clean up the mess. Or maybe he just needed to stay far away from Earth, where memories hurt too much to face. His radio crackled suddenly, a burst of static followed by a sound that made him stop mid-step. A cry. Not mechanical. Not human. Something small, scared. Nathan whipped his flashlight toward the shadows between collapsed support beams. "Hello? Anyone there?" His voice echoed back hollowly in the deserted complex. The cry came again, weaker now, and Nathan's pulse spiked. He followed the sound into a half-collapsed storage bay. Steel beams bent inward like the ribs of a crushed animal. Snow drifted down from the torn ceiling, glittering in the beam of his flashlight. Then he saw movement, a twitch, a shake, and then a tiny creature curled inside a broken containment pod, squirming weakly beneath a layer of frost. Its skin glowed faintly blue, and large black eyes blinked up at him in pain and fear. It wasn't older than a human infant. Nathan's breath hitched. "Oh, you're a baby." The little alien reached out a trembling hand, fingers thin as ice sticks, making a soft chirping sound that pierced straight through his hardened heart. He knelt beside the pod, switching his suit's heater output to maximum as he leaned closer. Hey, stay with me." The infant was freezing, minutes from death. Then a voice, raspy, desperate, echoed from the opposite end of the bay. "Who, a man?" Nathan spun around, rifle instinctively raised. There, slumped against a broken girder, was someone else. A taller alien, body wrapped in torn silver fabric, blood the same glowing blue dripping from her side. Her breathing was shallow and jagged. She was the mother. Nathan lowered the rifle instantly and rushed to her. "Don't move. I'll help." Her shaking hand pressed against his chest plate to stop him. Her eyes, huge and filled with both terror and fierce love, locked onto his. "My child must live," she gasped, voice trembling. "Promise me you protect her." Nathan swallowed hard. He looked back at the baby in the pod, visibly struggling to breathe. He nodded without hesitation. "Of course, I'll protect both of you. Just hold on." She shook her head painfully. "No time," she whispered. "Hunters. They come." Her gaze flicked to the broken window overhead, where strange claw marks tore across the frame. "You run, baby. Must survive or all lost." He didn't understand, but the panic in her voice ignited a fire inside him. He slid an emergency heat blanket over her, trying to stabilize her temperature. The alien mother clutched his arm with surprising strength. This world, too cold. Human strong, heart warm. She inhaled sharply, like each breath was slicing her lungs from the inside. Promise. Nathan had given promises before. Promises he failed to keep, and the memory of those failures still haunted him. But now, looking into her desperate eyes, there was no hesitation. "I promise," he said, voice steady. Her body relaxed, relief washing over her features, but the glow in her eyes dimmed. She collapsed forward, arms falling lifelessly. Gone. Nathan stared, stunned. A mother's love extinguished in a second. He turned back to the infant, now crying weakly, sensing the loss even without words. He picked the baby up gently, tucking it into the warm pouch of his suit. The little one stopped crying, tiny fingers gripping Nathan's glove as if anchoring itself to survival. Then, a low growl vibrated through the bay. Red eyes shone from the darkness above. Something moved, fast, crawling across the ceiling like a beast of nightmares. The mother's warning came flooding back. Hunters. Nathan backed toward the exit, pulse thundering in his ears. "We're leaving," he whispered to the child. "Right now." The alien baby looked up at him, frightened but trusting. Just as he reached the doorway, metal claws slammed into the ground behind him with a screech. The creature landed, towering, armored with spiked chitin, mandibles clacking in hunger. Nathan spun and sprinted, clutching the alien child to his chest. His radio blared in panic as he shouted, "Base command. I've got a live alien juvenile and hostile contact. I need evac now." Static. No answer. The growls behind him grew louder. Nathan realized something horrifying. He wasn't just protecting a baby. He was the only shield left between this child and extinction. And the hunters were already closing in. The emergency lights flickered as Nathan sprinted down the narrow hallway, his boots scraping against frost-covered metal. He could hear the alien hunter's claws skittering across the walls behind him. Too fast, too close. The baby pressed against his chest gave a soft whimper, and Nathan instinctively tightened his hold. "Hang in there, little one," he breathed, desperately fighting the fear creeping into his voice. The station was a maze of abandoned mining corridors, half of them collapsed or frozen shut. He needed the main power restored. Without warmth, without communications, they were dead. He skidded around a corner and slammed his hand against a control panel. Nothing frozen. Then his helmet display pinged. BIO signature detected. 3 meters. Nathan froze. The hunter leaped, claws first, jaws wide. He ducked instinctively as the monster crashed into the wall above him with a shriek. Sparks and chunks of metal sprayed the air. Nathan fired blindly, plasma bolts lighting up the corridor. The creature screeched in rage but kept coming, unstoppable. He darted into a side passage, kicking a fallen storage crate behind him as a temporary barrier. It slowed the beast for barely a heartbeat, but sometimes a heartbeat was everything. Breathing hard, he reached the central power hub. A massive cylindrical generator sat silent at the center, coated in frost. He shoved the baby into the softer inner lining of his suit and grabbed the manual crank. "Come on! Come on!" His gloves numbed as ice seeped through. The generator sputtered, coughed, and finally roared to life. Toxic yellow lights flickering overhead. Heating systems hummed awake. The baby stopped shivering, curling into Nathan's warmth. But it also meant noise. The hunter roared from the hallway. Fury multiplied. "All right?" Nathan exhaled shakily. "We run. Again." He sprinted toward the main hangar, the only route to the snow rover outside. Sirens wailed overhead now, the ancient station complaining about activity after years of silence. Maybe someone would pick up the beacon. Maybe. A metallic thud shook the ground. Then another. The hunter was smashing through walls to reach him. He ran faster. Deep breaths burned his lungs as he burst into the hangar, only to find the huge blast door partially frozen shut. He slammed a fist into the controls. The door groaned reluctantly, grinding upward just a few centimeters. Then the control panel fizzled dead again. "Seriously?" He set the baby down as gently as panic allowed, then threw his weight into the door, pushing, kicking, shouting. The gap widened enough to squeeze through, maybe. He grabbed the tiny alien back up, and claws raked across the floor just behind him. The hunter emerged from the smoke and sparks, taller than any human, armored in black scales, mouth dripping cold mist. It growled a single chilling word in a voice that sounded like tearing metal. "Give." Nathan stepped backward toward the door, shaking his head. "Not happening." The alien baby gave a soft chirp like it understood. The hunter lunged. Nathan dove under the blast door, scraping his suit, clutching the child as they slid onto the frozen landing pad outside. The creature slammed into the shrinking gap, teeth gnashing just inches from Nathan's foot. With a final push, he forced the emergency lever, and the door crashed down, sealing the hunter inside with a furious roar. Nathan staggered toward the snow rover, a battered vehicle buried in white. He shoved the baby into the co-pilot's heated cradle and jumped in after. The engine sputtered. He slammed the ignition again. Nothing. He hit it harder. "Don't do this to me." The engine coughed to life. Just as, crash, the hangar door behind them buckled outward. Massive claws tore through steel. "Oh, come on," Nathan yelled as he floored the accelerator. The rover launched forward across the ice, treads spitting frost into the air. The hunter burst free like a demon, howling, sprinting on all fours with terrifying speed. Nathan gritted his teeth. Not today. The rover's AI finally synced to his helmet. A route map flickered into view. The closest safe location? Shelter Outpost Theta, 9 kilometers. He swallowed hard. 9 kilometers in sub-zero hell with a monster chasing them. The rover rattled violently over uneven ice. The baby cried small, frightened sounds Nathan could barely hear over his racing heartbeat. The hunter leapt onto the rover's rear, claws piercing metal. The entire vehicle lurched. Nathan grabbed a flare gun from the passenger side. "Hey, back off," he fired. A blazing flare exploded into the creature's face, and it shrieked, falling away in smoke and fury. But it didn't stop. Kept running. Relentless. Nathan's radio cracked again. A faint voice, buried in static. "Then, do you copy? Evac? Inbound. Stay alive." He felt a surge of hope and dread. He wasn't just saving a child. There was more at stake than he understood. The baby tugged weakly at his glove. Their eyes met, glowing faintly. He whispered through heavy breaths, "I don't know who you are, little one, but someone wants you dead in the worst way." The hunter's roar echoed behind them. "And I'm not going to let that happen." The outpost appeared in the distance, a flicker of red beacon through the howling snow. But alarms suddenly blared on the rover dash. "Unknown vessel detected. Orbital descent." More hunters? Or something worse? Nathan tightened his grip on the controls. Whatever was coming. They were almost out of time. Shelter Outpost Theta looked like nothing more than a cluster of snow-buried domes, barely visible beneath relentless snowfall. Nathan skidded the rover to a rough stop and jumped out, carrying the alien child close to keep her warm. "Almost there. You're okay?" he whispered, though he wasn't sure if he was comforting the baby or himself. The wind howled like a living thing, biting through his suit despite the heaters. The baby's tiny fingers clung to him, glowing softly beneath the fabric, and that glow was getting brighter. When he reached the outpost's airlock, he slapped the manual override. The door creaked open after a painful delay, and he hurried inside, sealing the cold out. The heat lamps flickered on, bathing the room in a dull orange glow. He set the baby on the examination table and knelt down to catch his breath. "Okay. Safe for now." The little alien looked up at him, big dark eyes filled with something he hadn't seen in a long time. "Trust." Nathan smiled faintly. "You're tougher than you look. You know that?" Then a sudden pulse of light flashed across the baby's skin, turning the room blue for a second. "What the—" Nathan staggered back. The glow wasn't just warmth. It was energy. His suit sensors went wild. Reading. Unknown bioenergy search. Potential antimatter reaction. Nathan's stomach dropped. "What are you?" The infant reached toward the table's metal surface and, as easily as breathing, melted the frost off it. The heat signature spiked so high that even Nathan could feel it. This child wasn't just a baby. The door behind him suddenly slammed open. Nathan spun around, weapon raised, but instead of a monster, a hologram flickered to life. A message pre-recorded inside the outpost systems. It was the same species as the baby. Taller, similar glowing patterns, eyes solemn. The hologram spoke in clear, translated English. If you find this message, then the hunters have begun. The infant you carry is not ordinary. She is the next heartbearer, one who can restart the dying core of our world. Nathan froze. Restart a planet? What kind of power did this child hold? The hologram continued, voice filled with urgency. Protect her, for her energy will mature rapidly, and those who serve the void will try to claim it or destroy it. The message flickered, static distorting the last words. If she cries, run. If she glows, shield her. If she... The hologram cut out. Nathan stood silent, processing. Then he heard a soft whimper behind him. The baby's glow pulsed again, stronger. No, 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 he murmured, scanning her vitals. Temperature rising. Heart rate spiking. She was upset. Hey, easy there. You're safe. He held her against his chest, rocking gently. Gradually, the glow dimmed, but outside, the hunters roared. The ground trembled. The outpost shook. Nathan's heart pounded. He backed away from the door as snow dust fell from the ceiling. Through a narrow viewing slit, he saw them, 3 of the armored beasts now, tearing through the ice, closing in. Why won't they give up? He shouted in frustration. Then his radio crackled. Evac response team inbound ETA 6 minutes. Hold position. Another voice overlapped. Darker, synthetic, chilling, human. Surrender the heartbearer, and you may live. Nathan stiffened. He recognized that voice. It was exactly like the hunters, but speaking through technology. Intelligent, calculating. He pressed his helmet mic. You're not touching her. Your courage is admirable. The voice hissed, but pointless. Her power belongs to us. Her fate, sealed. The infant pressed closer to him, frightened again. Nathan held her tighter, voice steady and calm even though fear churned inside. Not while I'm breathing. The walls groaned under the hunter's assault. The airlock door bent inward with a thunderous clang. Nathan backed toward the inner corridor. His HUD displayed a countdown. 5:36 until evac. Too long. Way too long. He scanned the room and spotted something. A containment sled used for transporting heavy or thick metal walls. Reinforced shell. Life support inside. A makeshift shield, maybe their only chance. Nathan placed the baby inside and sealed the door. She cried, tiny fist banging against the window, but at least she was protected. The airlock burst. One hunter charged in, roaring, eyes glowing hunger. Nathan grabbed a welding torch from the wall, a pathetic weapon but better than nothing. He ignited it with a roar of flame. Come on then. The monster lunged. Nathan sidestepped and slashed the torch across its face. Bright sparks flying as its armor heated dangerously. The hunter screeched and recoiled. But another crashed through, then a third. Nathan stumbled backward, torch raised, throat dry. The lead hunter's eyes narrowed. You cannot win, human. Nathan smirked through his terror. You haven't met a human on a bad day. Suddenly the baby screamed. A piercing, heartbreaking wail. And the world reacted. Light exploded beneath the containment sled. Streaks of blue energy racing across the floor like lightning. The hunters froze, bodies trembling as if gravity itself changed direction. Nathan shielded his visor from the blinding glow. He heard the hunters' terrified voices overlapping. She awakens. The energy wave expanded, violent and beautiful, and the entire outpost shook as if reality were tearing open. Nathan realized the baby wasn't just scared. She was unleashing something unstoppable. And no one, not even Nathan, knew if they could survive what came next. The brilliant pulse of energy blasted outward like a star being born. Nathan braced against the shockwave, shielding the baby's containment sled with his own body. The outpost lights flickered violently, sparks raining from the ceiling. The hunters howled, not in fury this time, but fear. Their armor glowed bright orange where the energy touched them, steam rising as if they were being boiled alive from the inside. One collapsed, legs twitching. Another scrambled backward, shrieking words so distorted Nathan's helmet auto-muted the audio. The third tried to lunge at the containment sled, desperate, but the energy surge caught it mid-stride and slammed it against the wall so hard the steel dented. Then the wave faded. Nathan gasped, heart pounding, ears ringing. The baby's soft glow dimmed again, her energy spent. She whimpered once, curling up as though exhausted. The hunters, though injured, weren't dead. They staggered out of the airlock and retreated into the storm, hissing, limping, but not finished. Retreat only meant reinforcements. Nathan rushed to the containment sled, opening it just enough to check her. The baby clutched his finger, breathing rapidly. He forced a calm smile. "That was impressive," he whispered. "But let's not do that again unless we have to." His HUD displayed the evac timer, 2:11. If they could just hold out. A thunderous blast shook the entire outpost. The ceiling above buckled inward, and a massive shadow blocked the last beams of light. Nathan looked up. A ship, not human, sleek, obsidian metal, silent descent, predatory design. It had landed directly on the outpost roof, crushing part of the habitat dome. The floor vibrated. Something was docking, forcing its way inside. Nathan sprinted with the sled toward the back exit, the emergency maintenance tunnel. But the steel door slid shut inches before he reached it. System override. Then the intercom crackled, that same cold synthetic voice. "Human, you have done well slowing us, but the heartbearer cannot escape fate." Nathan raised his welding torch again, breath shaking but eyes determined. "You'll have to get through me." The voice gave what almost sounded like amusement. "We intend to." A hiss, like air decompressing, came from the center of the room. A circular section of floor opened, and a metallic platform rose, carrying two armored figures. Not hunters. Humanoid. Each stood over 2 meters tall, black armor pulsing with eerie violet veins. Their helmets were smooth, featureless. Weapons extended from gauntlets, long, blade-like energy claws. One stepped forward. "You prolong the inevitable." Nathan's entire body wanted to tremble, but the baby was watching him, those big dark eyes trusting him with everything. So he straightened up. "I promised her mother, and humans keep their promises." He launched himself forward, swinging the torch in a blazing arc. The armored giant caught the strike effortlessly mid-air, superhuman reflexes, crushing the torch like paper. The other seized Nathan by the throat, lifting him effortlessly off the ground. Nathan choked, fingers clawing at the grip. "Your fight ends now." The baby sensed Nathan's distress, a faint glow beginning to build. Her eyes widened, tears forming. The armored figure holding Nathan noticed and hesitated. "Contain the heartbearer. Do not allow a surge." The second one marched toward the containment sled, claws unfolding, ready to kill if necessary. Nathan's vision blurred from lack of air. He managed to rasp one broken word. "Don't touch her." His fingers reached blindly and brushed against a tool on his belt, the emergency microfusion cutter. He ignited it at max power and jammed it under the armored figure's wrist. A blast of superheated plasma triggered, melting part of the gauntlet. The creature howled and dropped Nathan, clutching its smoking arm. Nathan rolled, gasping, and intercepted the other attacker just before it struck the sled. He grabbed a broken steel pipe from the floor and smashed it into the armored jaw, sparks flying. Barely a dent. They slammed him back into a console panel, ribs screaming in pain. The baby wailed, the glow rising faster now. The air around them crackled. Tools, debris, floating inches above the floor. The figure with the damaged arm snarled. "If she detonates, everything dies, including you." Nathan spat blood and glared back, voice rough. "Then leave." Both armored heads turned sharply toward the sled as a surge of pure blue light began radiating outward again, even more intense than before. The timer on Nathan's HUD hit 0:16. A sonic boom thundered outside, a human shuttle descending rapidly. Evac was here. The armored beings backed away, one giving a final threat. "This isn't over, human." In a flash of purple energy, they vanished, teleportation tech beyond anything humans had. The ceiling buckled again from above, this time not from attackers, but from friendly landing clamps. Nathan stumbled toward the sled, lifting the baby into his arms. "You did great," he murmured, still shaking. "But we need to get far away from here." The evac shuttle's ramp blasted open, stormlight flooding the room. Figures in white Arctic suits rushed in, motioning urgently. "Come on, soldier. Move." Nathan took one step toward them. Relief finally beginning to form. Then his suit scanner pinged. Biosignature match. Unknown hostile. Threat level, extreme. He looked at the evac team again and saw their eyes glowing purple behind the visors. Not rescue. The enemy, wearing human skin. Nathan's breath caught. He was running out of allies, and nowhere left to run. Nathan's boots slid slightly on the metal floor as he stepped back from the supposed rescuer. Their purple-lit eyes tracked his every move behind those Arctic visors. The lead soldier raised a gloved hand, voice too calm for a battlefield. "Hand over the infant. You will not be harmed." Then all 5 of them aimed their rifles straight at him. Nathan tightened his hold on the baby until she pressed against his chest. "Yeah, that's not happening." The leader snapped his fingers, a gesture that chilled Nathan far more than any blizzard. "Neutralize the human." Blaster shots erupted, but Nathan was already diving behind a toppled support beam, the baby safely cradled beneath him. Bolts ripped into the floor where he'd just been standing. He checked his suit HUD. Oxygen low, armor integrity fractured. Ribs may be cracked. Not great, but humans don't stop when they're cornered. They become stubborn. A metal crate sat a few meters away, with the outpost's aerial emergency thrusters strapped on top. Not enough to fly, but enough to make a leap of faith. Nathan whispered to the baby, "Hang on tight." He hit the activation panel. The thrusters ignited violently, sending the crate skidding across the floor straight into the soldiers, slamming 2 of them down under its weight. The others staggered, momentarily off balance. Nathan bolted toward the shuttle ramp, but laser fire shattered the ground in front of him. The lead soldier stepped into his path again, visor glinting with unnatural purple. "Resistance will only bring suffering." Nathan raised an eyebrow. "Story of my life." With a desperate burst of strength, he slammed an elbow into the soldier's helmet. The visor cracked, and purple smoke leaked out like escaping gas. The soldier screeched, not human, voice warping into something alien. Nathan didn't wait. He shoved past and ran up the ramp into the shuttle. Inside was worse. 2 more soldiers, strapped into seats. Their bodies limp, visors dark. Their chests didn't rise or fall. Hostile infiltration. They killed the real evac team. His jaw clenched. Rage burned through his exhaustion. He set the baby into a padded seat and slammed his hand against the cockpit controls. The engines roared alive, but a red warning painted the glass. Remote lock engaged. Authorized departure. Denied. No, no, no. Footsteps thundered behind him. Nathan ripped open a weapons locker and grabbed the first thing he saw, a shock lance designed for riot control. When the first imposter clambered up the ramp, Nathan stabbed forward. Electricity arced, hurling the enemy back screaming. The ramp began to rise. He must have hit the right command by luck. But the lead imposter lunged in just before it shut, claws scraping along the metal. Its voice echoed in a metallic snarl. "You cannot protect the heart-bearer." The baby cried again, and the glow surged. Nathan didn't hesitate. He activated every thruster the shuttle had. Boom! The shuttle blasted upward, tearing through snow and wind, engines screaming under the sudden strain. The ramp slammed shut, slicing off the lead soldier's hand. The severed piece writhing grotesquely on the floor before turning into black dust. The shuttle shook violently as it punched into the night sky. Nathan strapped himself and the baby into the cockpit seats. "We're flying blind, kid." Outside the windows, the stars glittered. For the first time tonight, no storms, no monsters. Then, warning. Hostile aircraft approaching fast. 3 blips appeared on radar, closing in from multiple directions. Sleek, black ships, hunters in the air now. Nathan growled. Of course they have ships. He fired the shuttle's automated flares. Bright bursts shot behind them, distracting one fighter. It spiraled away, spinning out of control. But the other two adapted instantly, Predators changing tactics. Energy beams lanced past the cockpit, one clipping the wing. The shuttle lurched, alarms blaring. The baby screamed. The glow returning, brighter, pulsing like a heartbeat synced to panic. Nathan felt static electricity rising in the air. He reached over and stroked her tiny hand. Hey, look at me. She gazed up, trembling but listening. It's okay. I'm not afraid. You're safe with me. Her glow steadied. The energy wave simmered instead of exploding. Nathan exhaled shakily and turned his focus forward. Shelter Outpost Theta's emergency beacon had finally transmitted coordinates to orbit. A human listening post, Elysium Station, was now showing on screen, just above the horizon. Safety, or as close as they were going to get. But the enemy fighters suddenly veered off, circling like wolves instead of striking. Why? A larger blip appeared on radar. Not human, not a fighter. A colossal ship, blotting out starlight, descending like a dark moon. The comms crackled, the same voice from earlier. Human. The Heartbearer returns to her destiny now. You will surrender, or you will witness her death and yours. Nathan gritted his teeth, fire burning in his chest. You've tried to kill her all night. Don't pretend this is mercy. Silence. Then a colder response. There are fates worse than death. That chill in Nathan's spine wasn't from the cold this time. He angled the shuttle upward, pushing engines past safety limits, heading straight toward Elysium Station's shield perimeter. If he could just cross. A violent impact slammed the shuttle from beneath. One of the fighters had rammed them. The cockpit windows shattered into alarm lights and sparking wires. The baby shrieked. Nathan held her tight, teeth gritted as the shuttle spiraled into darkness. In the final seconds before the station's silhouette vanished beneath them, Nathan saw it. The enemy's colossal mothership opening like a hungry jaw, light swirling deep inside. It was swallowing them whole. Nathan whispered through gritted teeth, I'm not letting them take you. Then everything exploded into white light, and they were gone. Soren barely felt his own feet as he forced one step after another through the howling tundra. Every breath stabbed like broken glass, but he didn't slow, not while the child's tiny warmth rested against his chest. The alien baby's faint cooing kept him focused, kept him moving. Any hesitation could mean both of their deaths. Somewhere behind him, the echoes of the alien mother's last scream still followed through the wind. He had never imagined her final request would haunt his every heartbeat. Save my child, even if it costs the galaxy. He didn't understand why she said it that way, and the mystery twisted in his mind. What danger could a helpless infant represent? Why did the soldiers look terrified instead of confident during their attack? He shivered, and not from the cold. Just over the horizon, the faint glow of an underground human outpost flickered to life. He quickened his pace, shielding the baby with his jacket. Almost there, he whispered, unsure if the child could understand. But when the baby's tiny hand clutched his shirt, something like trust surged inside him, warming him more than any fire could. As he reached the entrance hatch, security drones whirred awake, red lights focusing directly on him. Human civilian detected. Unknown biological entity detected. The automated voice announced. Drop the alien life form and step back. No, Soren replied instantly, clutching the baby tighter. It's a child. It needs help. The drones adjusted, aiming weapons. Orders from Section Command. All alien infants in this region are classified as lethal threats. Surrender the entity immediately. Soren's stomach twisted. A lethal threat? This baby? He looked at the tiny creature. Its glowing eyes were full of innocent curiosity, not malice. It didn't even cry at the alarms. It just watched him, as if trying to understand why humans feared it. I'm not surrendering anything, he snapped, shifting into a defensive stance he knew was ridiculous. One man against government weapons. Before the drones fired, a mechanical arm jerked open the hatch from inside. A woman in a medical coat stepped out, Dr. Era Fenn, the base's lead xenologist. Soren? she gasped. You were reported missing. What are you holding? He showed the child carefully. Dr. Fenn examined the infant, her eyes widening with dread. Do you have any idea what you've brought here? I saved its life, Soren answered, voice shaking but firm. Its mother died protecting it. Now it's on me. Dr. Fenn hesitated, then sighed, lowering the drones. Bring it inside, quickly. As the hatch sealed behind them, warmth finally returned to his freezing skin. Sensors scanned the baby, screens lighting up with strange alien symbols and energy readings Soren couldn't interpret. Dr. Fenn stared in silence for a long moment before finally whispering. This baby belongs to the Alari sovereignty, one of the most feared and ancient species in the galaxy. Their children are born with power no soldier can fight. Soren frowned. Power? What kind? She turned the screens to show a pulsing, star-like core in the baby's chest. They absorb and release energy. Entire warships have fallen to Alari children who couldn't control their abilities. His breath caught. So the mother, she wasn't afraid of the soldiers. They were afraid of her baby? Dr. Fenn nodded slowly. Yes, one emotional surge. Fear, pain, panic, and the child could level this entire base. Soren looked at the baby, but instead of fear, he felt the same warmth as before. It's not a weapon, it's just scared. And alone. His voice softened. Like I was, once. The baby responded to his tone, curling into his chest with a soft trill, trusting him completely. Dr. Fenn observed that moment with a troubled expression. You've already formed a bond. That might be the only thing keeping it stable. The mother asked me to protect it, he said, gripping tighter. I'm not breaking that promise. But Dr. Fenn's eyes darkened. There's something you must know. She gestured toward a secure message that had just arrived. Soren leaned closer, and his heart plummeted. Human command declaration. All Ilari infants must be terminated on sight. Reward for compliance. 100,000 credits. Soren staggered back. Terminated? They want us to kill a baby? Why? Dr. Fenn swallowed hard. The last time an Ilari child survived into adulthood, an entire solar system was wiped from the star maps. Silence crashed between them, heavy, suffocating. Soren held the infant tighter, fear and determination mixing like fire in his veins. I don't care what happened in the past. This child deserves a chance. Dr. Fenn studied him, searching his eyes, and finally nodded, though worry lingered in her gaze. We'll hide the baby. I'll help you, but you must understand, Soren. You are now the most hunted man on this planet. Before he could reply, alarms blared through the base. Incoming transport. Top-level clearance. Command security forces approaching. Dr. Fenn's voice trembled. They know. Someone reported us. Soren looked down at the child, whose glowing eyes now flickered brighter, sensing danger. Tiny sparks of light seemed to escape its skin. Oh no, Fenn whispered. If the baby panics. The walls vibrated as soldiers hammered on the sealed door. Soren's pulse thundered. Tell me what to do. Before the doctor could answer, a soft voice echoed not through the air, but inside his mind. Protect us. Soren froze, eyes wide. The baby was speaking telepathically. The pounding at the door intensified. Metal screeched. A countdown flashed across the entrance console. 5, 4, 3. Soren took a desperate step back, cradling the child as light overflowed from its tiny body. Dr. Fenn screamed over the alarm. Soren, if the baby releases its power, we'll all. The door exploded inward. White energy erupted, and everything vanished into blinding light. The blinding light swallowed the entire room, heat and force surging like a newborn sun. Soren braced his body around the infant as instinct took over. He expected pain, fire, oblivion. Instead, silence. Slowly, the white storm dimmed into swirling stardust, floating harmlessly through the air. Soren opened his eyes, stunned. Everything was destroyed, except the three of them. The heavily armed soldiers who had blasted the door moments ago lay scattered across the floor, Unconscious but alive, weapons melted into slag. The thick steel walls were warped outward like soft clay. The baby had unleashed unimaginable power. But it hadn't killed anyone. Dr. Fenn stared in shock. This shouldn't be possible. Ilari infants can't control their powers, not like that. Soren glanced at the child. Glowing softly now, eyes calm. Maybe it didn't want to hurt them. As if responding, the baby rested its tiny hand over Soren's heart and gave the faintest coo. Peaceful, trusting. Before they could breathe again, a commanding voice echoed through the ruined corridor. Stand down, or the next squad won't miss. Soren turned to see Commander Vale, armored, furious, and flanked by reinforcements. He didn't raise a weapon. Instead, his gaze locked onto the infant. So this is the last spark of the Ilari, Vale growled. Do you understand the danger you're holding? Soren stepped instinctively in front of the baby. I understand one thing, it saved us. It had the chance to destroy all of us. But it didn't. Vale's eyes narrowed. Mercy now doesn't erase history. Their species once brought terror to every star. Dr. Fenn countered sharply. That was centuries ago. This child had no part in that. Vale ignored her. Humanity must survive at any cost. Hand it over. Soren's heartbeat thundered. He knew if he surrendered the child now, it would never see another sunrise. He took a stand. If humanity's survival means murdering infants, then maybe we're the monsters. The soldiers raised their weapons. Tension crackled. Vale sighed, almost regretful. Don't make this harder. Every sensor on this planet has now detected that energy burst. Ilari fleets will come. And when they do, you'll wish we killed it now. A cold shiver traveled up Soren's spine. Ilari fleets? Vale nodded grimly. Billions. They never stopped searching for newborns. They want this one back, so it can grow and avenge them. The baby suddenly tensed, trembling in Soren's arms, overwhelmed by fear. That fear began to pulse into energy again. The floor rumbled. Lights flickered. Dr. Fenn shouted, Soren, talk to it. You're the anchor. Calm it. He hugged the child tight, whispering gently, Hey, I'm here. You're safe with me. I promise. The glow dimmed, returning to a soft shimmer. Vale's expression changed completely. You can stabilize it? He asked, stunned. Soren nodded slowly. It trusts me. Impossible, Vale muttered. No human has ever bonded with an Ilari. Dr. Fenn's eyes widened, realization striking. The mother chose him. That's why she begged him. The child imprinted on Soren, linked its emotions to his. Soren held the baby tighter, a fierce sense of purpose blooming in his soul. I won't abandon them. Commander Vale stared, jaw clenched, then lowered his weapon. We don't have time to debate. The Ilari will arrive soon, and if they think we've harmed their heir, they'll wipe out Earth. Heir? Soren choked. Dr. Fenn blanched. Heir, as in royalty? Vale nodded. That child isn't just one of them. It's theirs, the next ruler of the sovereignty. Soren felt the ground shift beneath him. A baby he found in the snow could decide the fate of worlds. Vale looked at him, voice lower now. If you truly want to protect it and humanity, you'll come with me. We need to show the Ilari you saved their future. That might be the only chance to prevent a full invasion. Soren hesitated, fear clashing with resolve. Then a tiny voice whispered in his mind again. We choose you. The baby wasn't just trusting him, it was claiming him. Soren lifted his chin. All right, tell me the plan. Vale tapped his comm, all units, cease fire. Prepare diplomatic protocol. We're escorting the Guardian and heir to the launch bay. Dr. Fenn exhaled in relief, though worry still flickered in her eyes. This changes everything. As they walked toward the underground hangar, a low rumble began beneath their feet. Not from alarms or machinery, but from the sky above. Soren knew without being told. The Ilari had arrived. A deafening boom shook the entire base. The ceiling above them glowed as if a star hovered just outside the atmosphere. Vale shouted over the tremors. Move! They detected the child's energy signature. They're coming for it. Soren held the baby protectively, but the infant lifted its head toward the ceiling and smiled, as if sensing family. A massive tear of light sliced through the air, a wormhole opening directly over Earth. Ships poured through like falling stars, silent, colossal, unstoppable. Every human soldier froze in terror. Dr. Fenn whispered, trembling, "Oh my God! They're already here." The baby's glow intensified, not with fear, but joy. Soren swallowed hard. "What do I do?" The infant pressed its tiny hand to his neck, and its voice filled his mind again. "You speak for us." Soren stared up at the descending armada, bearing the weight of two species. And deep inside, he sensed this was only the beginning.